Hello, hello. Okay, let's jump right into it. Are you preparing um, to give birth and wondering how you can stay calm and confident and in control? Well, if that sounds like you, if you are pregnant, if you will be delivering for the very first time, then you need to stick with me today because today in this live, we're going to be talking about doula approved birth tips. I'm going to be spilling the tea, y'all, on how you can make this delivery one of your smoothest, most empowered births that you could have ever imagined. So, if that sounds like something you are interested in, I want you to take a comfy seat, grab your favorite snack, and probably even a notebook and pen because, y'all, I have all my notes here. I will be dropping all the tea on how to have a confident and empowered birth. Now, with that being said, if this is your very first time catching me live, or perhaps you're watching the replay, my name is Stephanie Poole. I am a certified doula and lactation consultant. I help first time moms transition into motherhood with absolute confidence. And so, if that is who you are, then you are in the right place, my friend. Hello, hello. Hi, Nicole. Um, Once you guys join, please put where you're joining me from. And if you have any questions, drop that in the chat as well, because I'll be happy to answer. Now, again, I have all of my notes posted everywhere. So um, I have a lot going on, y'all. Please bear with me. Um, all right. All right. So jumping into today's topics, a topic of having a doula approved, like all the birth tips and secrets. This, if you read the title, is I'm going to talk about three different stages. So the very first one is mindset. Then we'll get into some calming techniques, and as well as some practical strategies that you can also use. So be sure to stick with me because I got a lot that I want to share with you today. So let me just start. I really want to start with the mindset. It just makes sense to start there because shifting your mindset will change everything about the way that you actually experience birth. Now, one of my favorite sayings is to not allow birth to happen to you, allow it to happen through you. Don't let birth happen to you, allow it to happen through you. And then also another way to think about it, actually, my pastor was just talking and he said, when you can't change what you see, you got to change the way that you see it. Why am I saying all of this? I'm saying this because it goes back to birth. I'm sure you've heard that birth can be hard, that there's all these things, these scenarios that can happen, right? That oftentimes, especially as a first time mom, you're kind of fearful of. But what we know is that changing our mindset, the combination, what I like to say is the combination of a powerful mindset, something that's positive and empowered. And when you couple that with good, solid strategies, that is the formula for an empowered and confident birth. And I think without one or the other, y'all, you can get into some real deep waters. And so shifting that mindset is so important right from the very beginning. Um one of the things that I always tell my moms is, to have a type of affirmation that you repeat to yourself while you're in labor, while you're delivering, something that kind of grounds you. It keeps you grounded. One of the things that you could even have, if you don't already have something, for some people that might be prayer, it might be meditation. um you might have a favorite scripture to read, or there's one that I will use with my clients that just simply says, I'm strong and my body knows how to do this. I'm strong and my body knows how to do this. You have to keep saying that over and over again, especially as those contractions are starting to set in, right? You got to remind yourself, I'm strong. My body knows what to do. It's made to do this. Um, Now, let me just kind of back up a minute and say, because I'm looking at, at one of my notes here, that, you know, mindset is not just some woo woo type thing. It is like a real scientific response that happens. So your emotions, there's two different responses that your body can have. We call one of them the fear-based, fear and tension-based cycle, and then the other one is called like the safety and secure cycle. And based on your emotions, there's kind of like this whole series of events that kind of pops off. And I wish I could even show you my slide here, because it shows how there's an emotional response that you have. So if you have a negative mindset and you're worried and you're full of, worry and tension in your body, you will release a certain set of hormones that will trigger a physical response. And the result of that is, you have your muscles to tense up and you start to feel every ache and pain of labor, right? We don't want that. We don't want that. That is how powerful your mind is. Now, the opposite effect is when you have a positive mindset and you go into your labor and delivery in a positive space. Again, reciting those affirmations and really grounded, you will also set off a different set of hormones, which will trigger a physical response and give you a different result, where you're able to bear down and your pain control is much more manageable. So when I talk about mindset, I feel like it's important to explain that, because sometimes you'll feel like it's just this optional woo woo type scenario, and it's really not. It's really not. Especially, I really want to dig down if this is something that you anticipate on having in terms of an unmedicated birth. People underrate the power of your mindset as you are going into an unmedicated birth. If you plan to have very few interventions, meaning like you don't want um all of the heavy things that kind of come with pain relief when it's progressing your labor, when it comes to progressing your labor, and you don't want all the interventions, like, I'm totally fine with that. I think as much as you can bear is how far we're willing to go. I'm in your corner. But that is going to require for you to get into a certain space. And you have to do that work ahead of time. You got to know, it's important for me to get into this positive space where I can kind of ground myself and really just power through this labor and delivery. So, having a powerful mindset is the very first strategy I want to give you for having that empowered birth. It is something that will affect you physically, and it should not be taken lightly, especially if you want to have a more natural, unmedicated birth. So, I hope that is pretty clear. I hope I conveyed the importance of that. The next thing I want to talk about is calming labor techniques. Now, this is really important because having these deep breathing exercises. When I say labor techniques, there's a lot of different techniques that you can actually use. But for the purpose of this live, I'm going to specifically pull out a few that I use as a doula, but that you are certainly welcome to use or to work with your doula or partner with. Okay. This is maybe something that you might want to share with them to help convey some of the techniques that you want to use in your pregnancy. So the first one is breathing techniques. And one of the breathing techniques that I often do, and I absolutely swear by it, is a deep breathing technique. It's the 4-4-6. And it's where you breathe in slowly for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, and then you release slowly for 6 seconds. Again, let me say that again. You breathe in slowly for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then release slowly for 6 seconds. This is a breathing technique that I absolutely swear by. I use it with my own clients, and it helps, especially with those intense labor contractions. Y'all, if you have not experienced it, you have no idea how clinging on to your breath, right? Focusing on your breath, how important that is during a labor contraction. You will, especially at the height of it, most of my clients, I don't think I can name not one of my clients that is actually talking through the contractions. They require for you to focus. And again, this kind of goes back to that mindset. You don't want to focus on the pain. You want to focus your breath as a tool to carry you through. You never want to just get stuck on, ouch, this hurts. That is not going to work, especially as they increase with intensity. You are going to need to focus on your breath, and your breath being carried away from you helps you to focus that pain through the contractions and away from your body. So definitely, in your notes, you should have your trusty notebook out. You should be taking um notes on that, and you definitely want to practice the 4-4-6 deep breathing technique. The next thing I want to talk about very briefly is visualization, right? And that's essentially where you are connecting your thoughts to something that is positive or happy for you. So, as an example, it could be, the beach, if you like to be on the beach. It could be, at your grandma's house because her house smells so good with food. Whatever that is for you, it could be out in nature. But whatever is grounding for you, whatever is a positive point that helps you to take your mind off of where you are, and it can transport you almost to this positive, happy place, whatever that is for you, you want to visualize that while you're doing these breathing techniques. Again, this stuff really works, especially when you have someone to really help you focus, and that's really walking you through and talking you through this during your contractions. It is a technique that I use. It works. It works. Um, the last one that I want to talk about as far as these calming techniques for labor is massage. So it's important that during your labor, especially once you get into that active state of labor, that you are kind of incorporating a cluster of these, really. So between the breathing, the visualization, and the massages, you're going to be rotating these out. You're going to be constantly utilizing these things to help not just get your pain under control, but to actually make it manageable. You don't want to allow things to get too far from you. And rotating these techniques will definitely help you with that. So for massage, you want to concentrate on the upper neck and shoulders, which is where we hold a lot of tension. A lot of tension. And I can honestly say that for quite a few of my clients, especially the ones who, again, are looking to have a non medicated birth, like I use massage very, it's definitely one of my go to techniques. Breathing massage. If I had to rank them, I would say breathing, massage, because they're equally at the top, and then the visualization as well. So definitely keep that in mind. All right. So we've talked about, we've talked about the labor techniques. I just want to jump really quickly into practical strategies that I think is important for you to remember when we talk about building a very positive and empowered birth. So that would be one of the first things I want to talk about is the importance of your support and birth team. I was literally talking to someone not long ago, and without doing a deep dive into their own personal situation, y'all, it's critical to have a provider that you have discussed your birth preferences with and they are in alignment with you. That could make or break your birth experience. Let me say that again. It's critical to have a provider that is in alignment with your birth preferences. So if it is your, preference to labor with very minimal intervention, you need a provider that practices that has had a high level of births where that has taken place. It's not good enough just to, have a provider to say, "Oh yeah, that's fine." No, you really need to discuss with them, how many of your are a lot of your patients, doing unmedicated births, or, you really want to talk to them to understand it, because having that misalignment could mean everything in terms of your birth experience. They're capable of getting the baby here, but will it be in the manner that is most aligned with you? So you need to um keep that idea in your head. The other thing you need to consider outside of just, and I've mentioned this stuff in other videos, but I always like to reiterate, because it's just nice to have it all in one video. If I can just quickly hit on these topics in terms of your birth team. Outside of having a provider that is aligned with you, you need to have people in your birth team. So your doula or your birth support person, your partner, or a family member that is going to be present. They should not be high anxiety. They should be well equipped, meaning that they understand the process of birth and they're willing to coach you through it. But they also should not be high anxiety. If you have someone on your birth team that does not handle stress well, then you need to rethink if they really should be part of your birth team. And this is including even close family members like a mother or a partner, or whatever the case may be. Of course they're close to you and you want them there. That's totally understandable. But in a moment of high intensity, when you're not able to really communicate, you need to have people that are going to be in your corner, be able to advocate for you, be able to really support you. It's an intense job to be part of someone's birth team. And if they don't take stress well, then that may not pair well in terms of your birth experience, the way that you experience birth. So definitely keep that in mind. Last but not least, one of the other tips that I like to give is not just about creating your birth team, but also to be considerate of your birth environment. So if there are small nuances that you can, so if you're birthing at home, this is likely not going to apply to you because you are in your environment. Um, the most I will say in regards to that is just to make sure that you have everything set up to accommodate a home birth. But I'm specifically speaking for, those women that will be birthing outside of the home, so at a birth center or at a hospital. It's important to have small nuances to infuse into your birth environment, even in those settings. Sometimes that means having a diffuser that could let off different oils. There's you could bring your pillows maybe from home that would make you a little bit more comfortable. Of course, clothes and pajamas. Usually they ask that they are will allow easy access to your body, for nursing purposes and things like that, to run IVs if an IV is necessary. So you do have to be mindful of that. But any pajamas or slippers, things that make you feel more comfortable and relaxed, you can remember to add that element as well, because that really helps to again send off that I'm safe, I'm comfortable response, which triggers those good healthy hormones that we need in order to empower you for birth. So definitely keep that in mind as well. um I've talked about most of this. Now, let me just say, you know, I'll quickly just move into those were the three, right? The three-step guide that I wanted to make sure that you guys understand, is important to have the empowered birth. But just as a bonus, I also want to discuss, once you have the baby, what is that postpartum looking like? That's huge. That's very important in the immediate postpartum. And by immediate postpartum, I mean the first few hours, days, and even weeks after having your sweet baby. What does that look like? Are you giving yourself grace? Are you allowing yourself to rest? One of the biggest mistakes, okay, so let me kind of put a pause here and just say one of the biggest mistakes I made was after I gave birth. um you know I didn't allow myself to really rest in that postpartum. In my postpartum, we had a lot of visitors, especially once my son was here because he was the first, right? And so people wanted to come by and see him. And so I kind of transitioned into trying to be a host instead of just being comfortable and allowing things to be how they're going to be and just allow people to support me. I felt like I needed to be like a host. Please don't fall into that trap. It is indeed a trap. You deserve to have time to rest. Your body absolutely requires it of us. Without it, there's a lot of things that could impede your healing and your recovery if you are not giving yourself the space to recover both physically and mentally. And you got to remember, in that immediate postpartum, you are not sleeping, right? Because you're around the clock taking care of your kid. Like, it's a whole situation. So definitely, it's important that you give yourself grace. Now, let me also quickly mention the role of a doula. A lot of times people will kind of think of a doula as someone who is there to help with the birth, and that is true. But even after birth, in that postpartum, doulas are available to help with that postpartum recovery. Right? If you're not sleeping, able to sleep through the night, you could have a doula to come and sleep with the baby, or maybe come do some hours during the day so you can get away and go for a coffee or a nice, leisure walk to get some fresh air. And in the same token, if you don't have a doula available, these are all ways that would be nice for friends, family, and your partner to support you, right? In these ways. And most oftentimes they're happy to do it. Who doesn't love watching or caring for a newborn, especially when you know and love the mom and you really want them to be well, right? So utilize that support. Don't try to do everything. Don't try to do everything. That was definitely a huge mistake of mine that I regret because I should have rested well and I did not. I didn't utilize the people around me, my friends, my family, because I was trying to do it thinking I don't want to inconvenience them. But in reality, like they were excited and eager, wanting to help. So I wish I would have engaged them more. Please don't make that mistake on my behalf. I'm begging with you over here. Don't do that. Um, Last but not least, I'll just give one final rally call to employ you to make self-care a very big deal. A very big deal. Mentally, physically, your body absolutely needs it. And this is that time where I think we don't tap into it enough, but we really have the grace and the permission to do it. If not now, a lot of times people don't understand when you need self-care in other situations, but needing self-care as a brand new mom after birth is an absolute no-brainer. It really doesn't require a lot of explanation behind it. And so take that permission that's already there and utilize it. Utilize it well. Now, before I end, I just want to know, I want you guys to comment in the chat, what's one thing that you're most excited or nervous about when it comes to birth or even your postpartum recovery? I want to know. And I'm always in the comments chatting. So definitely leave it in the comments if you're watching the replay so that we can chat and just see like what is on the mind of you, what's on your mind as you are getting ready to deliver. Okay, I want to be able to help you through that. um with that being said, I will leave in the description box, there will be a couple ways for you to work with me. You can either do a personalized one-on-one where we do a deep dive to help support you either in your birth, your postpartum, or with breastfeeding. Or I will have a list of available resources like my courses and my bundle that are available to you as well. They will definitely be in the description, so you can absolutely check there. I had my son 6 years ago on Mother's Day, and I remember relaxing and breathing more. And I got blessed with a quick and smooth delivery. Oh, wow. How awesome. Yes, I love that. Nicole just commented that, she had her son and she remembered relaxing and breathing through that. And as a result, was blessed with a quick and smooth delivery. I absolutely love it. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. It's these things that I'm giving, they're not groundbreaking, but they're absolutely like when you've attended as many births as I've been at, you start to understand that these are fundamental. They're almost like non-negotiable. You have to impart these things so that the natural birthing process can take place. So, like I said, I hope you guys took notes. If not, feel free to go back and watch the replay, take notes, use some of these things in your birth plan because that's why I'm here. That's why I'm giving you all of the information. There's only one me. I can only take on a certain number of clients, but you can take this information and you can run with it. You can have an empowered birth. You can be confident in your birthing experience. And these are some of the fundamental tools and techniques that you can use to get you there, that you can use to get you there. With that said, thank you so much for joining me today. I don't see any other questions in the chat here, but feel free to leave them below if you think of something that you want to chat about. I absolutely love chatting with you guys. Thank you again for joining me today. I look forward to our next live, and until then, happy birthing. Bye.